Hey guys, in this video, we will be going through Pictomancer, one of the new jobs that will be coming in 7.0 Dawn Trail. I had the privilege to finally attend a media tour and I thank Square Enix and the Final Fantasy XIV team for that. Now, please note that this media tour build footage and everything you see in this video are subjected to final adjustment and or changes before Dawn Trail's release. Without further ado, let's get into it. Pictomancer is a brand new job, so we will go more in depth on talking about its job's HUD and how the gauges work, what they represent and what they are used for. First is the canvases. In this new job gauge, you get 3 different canvases: the creature canvas, the weapon canvas, and the landscape canvas. What do they each do will be explained later as I go through the gauges. Next is the palette gauge. In this job gauge, you can track the white and black paint and also the palette gauge. The canvas, the palette gauge, and the black and white paint are the 3 main elements for Pictomancer's job HUD. Now let's get into how the job works. Do note that we will not be crafting any rotation in this video as it is a new job. We will also ignore potency values because once again these are subjected to final adjustment and or changes anyway. We will dive into how the skills and buffs etc work and how the class feels to play. This job is probably the most interesting one to think about. Almost everyone at the media tour I talked to had no idea how to understand how this job works. This is mainly because it seems so unique on how Pictomancer as a new caster would play out. I will go through what you need to know in order to get started, explaining the important aspect of the job and the important actions that make everything click. I will also going to talk about single target because the AoE actions works exactly the same. So if you know how to do single target, you probably have an idea how to do AoE. Let's start with the palette. This one is kind of the simple bread and butter gameplay portion of Pictomancer, I think. The Pictomancer's Ether Hue actions start with the single target fire in red and the AoE version fire 2 in red. To just simplify things, I will mainly talk about the single target spells. Once either one is executed, it will trigger the next step in the combo. Arrow in green and water in blue in that order. And by executing the third step, water in blue, you will accumulate your palette gauge by 25 and grant you a white paint. Honestly, for me, it is easier to think of them as the white magic combo. Each white paint gives you the ability to cast a standalone GCD instant spell wholly in white. Here comes the twist to the palette gauge management, the subtractive palette ability. You may execute subtractive palette by consuming 50 palette from your palette gauge. Executing this ability turns 1 white paint into a black paint. You also gain access to the more powerful Blizzard in cyan, Stone in yellow, and Thunder in magenta. I think of this as the black magic combo. The black magic combo does more damage than the white magic combo. Note that the black magic combo gives you no palette gauge, unlike the white magic combo. Each black paint gives you the ability to cast the standalone GCD instant spell, Comet in black. Note that you can only store a maximum of 1 black paint. So make sure you spend any black paint via Comet in black before you convert a white paint into black paint using subtractive palette. Now, the fun part, the canvases. You need to paint something on the canvas first before you can use them. So we have to use the motif actions. Motif actions have a long cast, each in combat, but are instant outside of combat. Motif actions itself also does nothing except painting the canvas, so you have to use the muse actions to bring them to life to do something. Let's start with the creature canvas. The creature motif, once assigned to the hotbar, will become the order of palm, wing, claw, and maw motif when executed in succession. Once you execute the corresponding motif action, your leaving muse button will become the corresponding muse action. You only have 3 charges of this, each charge taking 40 seconds to recharge. Important to note that every creature muse action are off GCDs. So palm motif will allow you to use palm muse, then wing motif will allow you to use winged muse. After you use palm and winged muse, you now have a cute little Moogle on your canvas to signify that you can now use Mock of the Ages, another off GCD damage skill. After that, you proceed to use claw motif, which allows you to use clawed muse, and finally maw motif to use fanged muse. Just like Mock of the Ages, after you use clawed and fanged muse, you now have a cute little Madin on your canvas to signify that you can now use Retribution of the Madin, yet another off GCD damage skill. This is very linear and straightforward, and the order of the creature motifs are fixed. Basically, 6 off GCD per cycle for the creature canvas. Next, we have the weapon canvas. The weapon motif, once assigned to the hotbar, will become the hammer motif. Once you execute the hammer motif action, your Steal Muse button will become the Striking Muse action. You only have 2 charges of this, each charge taking 60 seconds to recharge. Upon executing the Striking Muse button, you gain 3 charges of Hammer Time buff. It's Hammer Time! Now, you gain access to the Hammer Stem combo. This combo doesn't even need to be executed in succession. Treat them as 3 separate GCDs and use them for movement if you want. They also guarantees crit and direct hit. This is my favorite Pictomancer toolkit by far. Let me tell you, Hammer Time is a good time. Lastly, the landscape canvas. Follow this one very closely and try your best, alright? The landscape motif, once assigned to the hotbar, will become Starry Sky motif. Once you execute the Starry Sky motif action, your Scenic Muse button will become the Starry Muse action. You only have 1 charge of this every 2 minutes. So this canvas is basically your 2-minute burst window. Once you use Starry Muse, you gain multiple buffs and you have access to multiple skills. First, you gain the Subtractive Spectrum buff. This grants you a free use of Subtractive Palette without costing any palette gauge. Second, you gain the Hyper Fantasia buff, which places a 5-stack buff on you. You can consume each stack by casting a Ether Heal spell. Upon consuming these 5 stacks, you gain another buff called Rainbow Bright. This allows you to use Rainbow Drip instantly. Rainbow Drip is an almost 4-second cast spell, so I don't think you will ever want to hard cast this spell in combat. I'm pretty sure you only want to instant cast this spell in this 2-minute window or pre-pull. Then you also get the Inspiration buff. This drops a magic landscape under your feet and reduces your cast and recast time of your black and white magic combo and Star Prism. This is basically a Pictomancer leyline that disappears after you consume all stacks of the Hyper Fantasia buff. Lastly, the Starstruck buff. This buff allows you to use the level 100 Pictomancer skill, Star Prism. This is a GCD action that does a huge nuke and also heals nearby party members. This 2-minute buff has so many interactions with Pictomancer's toolkit that almost no one at the media tour knew how it works at the beginning, and I'm not even kidding. Holy crap. Now let's talk about Pictomancer's utility. Pictomancer has a self-barrier called Tempera Code that absorbs up to 20% of your max HP. This is a 2-minute cooldown defensive, but its cooldown can be reduced when you completely break the shield. You can even apply this Tempera Code to nearby party members using the follow-up action Tempera Grassa. This is literally a spread eloquium like Scholar. Pictomancer also has a mobility skill, Smudge, which basically allows you to dash 15 yums towards where you are facing and grants you a movement speed buff for 5 seconds. Pretty neat. I hope you guys are able to follow, because let me tell you, everyone at the media tour was struggling and stretching their heads for this job when we all got our hands on this job the very first time. Everyone was confused, spending possibly the most time figuring out even the basics of this job and how they blend together. It definitely seems a lot, but honestly, it's also what excites me. Compared to Summoner, which I covered in another video, please check it out, this job seems pretty fun. No actions are really hard tied to a strict combo. You can press any GCD and any off GCD freely, making this class super dynamic and flexible. However, the motif painting time does seems very awkward, so I would love to see when we fit this into our rotation and prep the muses in combat. Even outside combat, I find it really strange that we have to prepare all 3 motifs pre-pull. I feel like they could just give us the motif instantly, like how Sage automatically get full charges after a wipe. I personally think Pictomancer is a whole brand new way to play a caster class. Whether its damage output contribution will hold up against other casters will depend on release and the content we have to tackle. I think it's a very interesting and unique job for sure, and I can't wait to see how we craft a rotation from these skills. I try to cover as much as possible, but I could be missing something. Let me know what you think in the comment section below and drop a subscribe. Also remember to check out the other videos in the playlist that you will see on screen and also in the video description below. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video, and thank you Square Enix and Final Fantasy XIV for giving me this playtest opportunity.